Apart from this, actually we had, organized few other events, like International Women's Day was celebrated at the Institute of Physics, Bhubaneswar. And Professor Shikha Verma, chairperson of the Women's Cell, arranged an online talk on the occasion of the International Women's Day on 1st March 2023. And this year the theme of the International Women's Day was basically on women and girls in the development of transformational technology and digital education, digital innovation. And the talk was delivered by Ms. Rama Sarode, the social legal trainer, and safety of women at workplace was also discussed. We have also implemented the official language policy in the institute. So during the period under report, the Hindi training to the employees were conducted. Hindi Pakabara was organized from 14th September to 29th September 2022 in the institute, and different competitions were held. And during the year under the report, different welfare activities were also undertaken. Allotment of higher type vacant residential quarter to the employees, visit of Niger doctor to the institute for issue of referrals, presence of official authorized by the institute in the medical aid center for signature in the referrals to consult the doctors of the empaneled hospital without delay. And also, interestingly, there is a demand of the employees. Basically, there is a proposal to put a drain actually inside the premises. So far at least, I don't know whether it's permanently or temporarily we have succeeded for the postponement of the proposal of taking the drain inside the campus. And finally, a new 52-bedded hostel cum third class, including upgradation of main gate canopy and guard house is in hand, which will be started shortly. And in all the activities, the support of the institute members is highly appreciated. Without their support, it would not have been possible. So big round of applause for all of them. So with this, I conclude the brief report of the activities undertaken by the institute during the year. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would request our chief guest of this evening, Professor Pinaki Majumdar, Director Harishchandra Research Institute, to please address the audience.
So I actually wrote down something to avoid rambling on and on. Professor Nanda pointed out to me that the Foundation Day is in the nature of a gathering of the IOP family. It's not just an academic occasion. It's a gathering of present and past members who get together once a year. The young and the old people mingle. There is a cultural program and a much-awaited dinner at the end of it. So it would be good to get this top light. So this is not an occasion for an elaborate lecture, either on a specific scientific topic, for which this is not the audience, or on some deep policy matters. I decided I'd touch quickly on two aspects. First, my connection with IOP and its members over the years. And two, some comments on the position and long-term relevance of this kind of an institution, which is also my kind of an institution, HRI, in the larger education scene in India. And the second part, where I ruminate about the fate and function of these kind of institutions, is also thinking aloud about my own future, our own future at HRI. My first encounter with IOP, if I may call it that, was via one of its PhD students. He was working with Professor Behra, and I was a master's student trying to learn a bit of solid state physics. He was effectively my first mentor. Then, when I joined HRI, I discovered that many of the faculty members had either been students or faculty at IOP. These include Professor Sudhakar Panda, Sachin Nayak, Dilip Jatkar, Sumati Rao. And these were the people who carried HRI forward during its early days. They gave it the structure. Okay. And I discovered there was a strong tradition of high energy physics at IIT, which is what most of these people were trained in. More recently, I've been involved with IOP in a different capacity, as Viju pointed out. I've gotten to know some of the current faculty members, and also many HRI students have now joined IOP as faculty. So we are repaying a debt to IOP, if you wish. I mean, their members trained our students, and our students have come as faculty here. Absolutely. This personal connections apart, there is always an element of curiosity on how another small science institution, another meaning apart from HRI, etc., is performing. Because these are curious objects, these kind of science institutions. How they're performing and negotiating the changing winds, if you wish. So if you look at the history of institutes like IOP, HRI, or IMSC, they were started through local initiative where some scientists, or in the case of HRI, a benefactor, felt that there should be a small center dedicated purely to research. They were replicating what TIFR had done on a much larger scale, allowing a group of gifted people to focus purely on research, relieving them of the teaching burden of university faculty. And it was supposed to be a good idea. With the Delhi taking over these institutions, all of these, IOP, IMSC, HRI, SINP, were taken over at some point and generously funded by the Department of Atomic Energy. So with the Delhi taking over these institutions and ensuring generous financial support, these places became very attractive destinations for scientists. There was ample time to think, if thinking is what researchers do, and enough support for visitors, conferences, seminars, etc. In other words, a vibrant intellectual life. While this was seemingly good for the people in these institutions, over time two deficits became obvious. First, universities were robbed of talent. In the 1950s, the universities of Calcutta, Delhi, Madras, maybe even Patna and Allahabad were the prime centers of learning, both teaching and research. By the 1980s, most of the scientific research had shifted to the institutes, and the universities were left to do the teaching. So the people who were trying to introduce young students to science were typically overworked and unable to keep pace with the latest knowledge. It's the students' loss and the loss of the country at large. And two, the institute people who had access to this knowledge and the ability to understand it had hardly any contact with the larger student body in the country. Professor Nanda pointed out various efforts, instances at IOP and similar to other institutions where, if I may say, there is sporadic contact. You have open day, you have outreach. You need something, you, not you, we need something far more sustained to create a social connect. Because these questions will be asked. If institutions are to be judged on the twin yardsticks of research, that is knowledge generation, and teaching, that is dissemination and diffusion of scientific knowledge, how would we fare? We is institutions like IOP, HRI, IMSC, SINP, etc., etc. I think we'll be graded fair on research, not outstanding. While on making scientific knowledge available to young members of society, I sadly think we'll be reduced to. Despite occasional efforts, there is a great deal more that could be done. Our social connect is disappointing. We are publicly funded institutions, and per capita of faculty, we are funded far, far better than most universities. Now, Viju pointed out that if you look at IOP, that number is on the smaller side compared to institutions. But if you compare to other universities, it is significantly higher. Okay, I looked at the budget of Jadavpur University, it seems to be comparable to that of HRI, which is ridiculous. I mean, we are a 30-member institution comparing with a 300-member university, and the kind of governmental support given is roughly equal, and we expect them to do research, carry the burden of teaching, examination, etc., etc. Okay. So, per capita of the faculty, we are funded far better than most universities. And to ask for this level of support to be sustained, we need to showcase more than research. Our teaching and outreach programs need to be very vigorous. If you allow me a bit of pretentious sort of phrasing, these are institutes that are nodal centers of scientific knowledge. This is we talking about ourselves. And our task would be to transmit that knowledge to school, college, even university teachers, and maybe this is for benefit of the people who teach a large mass of people, and maybe actually start MSc and where possible bachelor's program.